What's up, everybody? I'm David Hain. Welcome to episode number 330 of the A2D From Addict to Disciple podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, please like, subscribe, follow, and share the link with your friends. If you'd like to get our curriculum, you can get the paperback or ebook of From Ashes to Destiny on Amazon. Today's episode, again, is number 330 of the A2D From Addict to Disciple podcast, and it's entitled BOGSAT. So you might want to look back at the link that you clicked on. That's an acronym, BOGSAT, and it stands for Bunch of Guys Sitting Around a Table. And I've seen this all over the world in rehabs and shelters that I go to. I've seen it in other buildings too, hospitals, assisted living places, workplaces, schools, dorms, all kinds of places, that there's an area, some kind of break room, some patio, some table or bench, or just an area where people go and tend to sit around a table together or sit on benches next to each other. They tend to have BOGSAT. And what I've seen is it tends to have that feel of everybody's just sitting there because it's there. They're not really sharing a whole lot in common. They might all be living at the same place, and this is just a place people hang. They might have found some little things in common when they talked, but they don't tend to talk out there. They sort of are sitting there like there's nowhere else to go. It's just a place for smokes or coffee, or maybe even an opportunity to bum a free one or use somebody else's lighter if you're short of having your own cigarettes. But these things could actually be where people search for what they have in common, especially in recovery. Could your table that you're all just a bunch of guys sitting around smoking or drinking coffee be a place that you realize you're all guys trying to find recovery? Or you're all guys trying to find healing for what led you into your addiction anyway. Some of you could be guys, and eventually maybe you're all guys looking to find a job, trying to find work, trying to find money. And you may be realizing you need to be working on your social skills, and you need someone to talk to, but you don't even know how to speak up because you've always been quiet. But the reality of BOGSAT, of a bunch of guys sitting around a table, is it tends to be more casual and informal than those things I just said. Nobody's there to talk about recovery, healing, or that sort of thing. And so they tend to be unproductive. They tend to be places where you can talk if you feel like it, you can listen if you feel like it, or you can just veg out. And I've heard guys, when I'm sitting around tables like that, when someone's been talking too much, sort of, say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't listening, but really, I don't care." Or, "Stop repeating yourself. Can't you see that I'm ignoring you? I'm trying to check stuff on my phone here." Or I've even heard this one where a guy said one time, "I can think of a kind response for your dumb question, but I'd rather be vague than call it a dumb question." And what I hear all the time is, "I'm just here to smoke a couple of cigarettes, drink some coffee, so please don't disturb me." Well, that's that definition of BOGSAT it's just unproductive. It's a group of guys who do have something in common, but they're not working on it. And the ideal would be they could realize this stuff that they have in common and work on camaraderie, work on fellowship, where my definition of fellowship is a bunch of fellows in a ship together. So not sitting around a table, but a bunch of fellows sitting in a ship together. So where you'd realize we're all in the same boat here. We all have the same destination. We all have the same goals. And we could work together in rowing to help make the burden easier for each other. We could realize that we could be our support system for the rest of our lives. And we could start working on really getting to know each other and how we could support each other. Or if you're going through a curriculum like From Ashes to Destiny, you could use it as a study group because you're all going to be probably in the same chapter at the same time. You could use it for decision-making skills and brainstorming, where you might have a situation that comes up that you're deciding on a job, you're deciding on when to leave the program you're in, you're deciding on family members who want to come see you or want to be back in your life and those that don't. And you could brainstorm and bounce ideas off of each other. And through that, you could learn to trust again, to trust yourself, to trust your ability to communicate, and build your character by getting this positive reinforcement as other people are sharing ideas with you. So what I'm talking about is you could really change this BOGSAT, this bunch of guys sitting around a table, from unproductive to productive. And I'd like to change the name from BOGSAT in that case to BOGGAT, BOGGAT, a bunch of guys growing around a table. And if this has you intrigued at this point and you're thinking, well, we could try that where I'm at, I want to give you some hints and suggestions. The first would be, don't just pick one leader to be in charge of turning this around. There's no greatest of all time guy in recovery where you're staying. Rotate the topic of the day to different people to lead it that day. Talk about it, come up with the topic, and have someone say, sure, I'll come prepared to lead that. And if you're the guy leading the topic of the day for that day, don't rely on what someone else wrote. Don't make it where you just read a devotional, just read a daily journal, and have no input of your own. What I'm saying is, be sure you have opinions about what the topic of the day is in order to lead and stir discussion. And the topic can be taken from a devotional or a journal or a podcast. It can also be taken from like the feeling wheel. And you could have the emotion of the day that people want to talk about. Some things that it would not be is it would not be a topic about your favorite complaint. It would not be about complaining about the place that you're staying and things that are unfair. And you wouldn't be allowed to repeat the topic that you already talked about. Because if you just keep going over the same topic, it's same old, same old. And same old is not an aspect of growing. It's an aspect of stagnation. Also, if you're going to get into this BOGGAT approach, make sure everyone has a chance to speak and their opinions are validated, because everyone's opinion is valid, even if it isn't something you would follow. And don't let people dominate the conversations. And do that on your own, too. If you're one who speaks up early, practice your listening skills more to encourage others to speak. And speaking of people who don't speak up, everyone should have a free pass for today, so to speak, where they just don't feel like speaking about that topic today. They're not the leader, but they don't want to get involved with input. They just want to listen. However, I would set a rule that you cannot get a free pass 3 days in a row or 3 meetings in a row. And if it's 2 days in a row, you are encouraged to have a one-on-one with your coach, your sponsor, your house manager, your counselor, whoever. Also, you should have sort of group rules where there's no bullying. You don't make someone the butt of jokes or ridicule. And don't make someone a scapegoat. And what you'll find as you are growing together, a bunch of guys growing around a table, you might want to invite management of the house where you're staying. You might want to invite counselors. You might want to invite people to participate with you, because you've got this tight-knit group now that's transparent and authentic. And it's a safe space. And it's something you're proud of. And so I'm not saying invite the world in. I'm saying you might want to selectively invite people to be part of it, to see how much you've grown. So that's my topic for today. BOGSAT or BOGGAT. Make your choice. Thanks for listening to this episode of the A2D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If you were saying that's me as you listen, if you were saying that's the bunch of guys that I'm with, then I want to encourage you to make that switch. You might want to listen to this again and take some notes. You can contact me by email at davidfroma2d@gmail.com or message me on the link in this podcast. Keep listening to future podcast episodes, and as always, stay safe and stay resilient.